All right, back with a few more self-defense stories. We start in Coeur Alene, Idaho. Hope I'm saying that right. And we got a victim that's 74-year-old James Dean. And the suspect is 30-year-old Shane Ryan Brown. And it looks like he was killed. And this looks like this is some sort of carjacking incident. In the parking lot near Michael's, a white male was seen burglarizing vehicles. Another older male, who was armed with a handgun, saw what he was doing and confronted him. The man who was burglarizing the vehicle then got into another vehicle and accelerated towards him. The older male ended up on the hood of the car, fired multiple shots, and struck him at least once. They then crashed into another parked vehicle, throwing the older man off the hood. The man got out of the vehicle and was on the ground when police arrived. The officers gave medical aid to both of the males. They were both transported to a nearby hospital, but the man who was seen burglarizing vehicles was pronounced dead. The current condition of the older male is unknown at this time. So you got this old guy who sees somebody breaking into cars, and he decides he's going to confront this guy, and he ends up on the hood of the car as the guy accelerates towards him in another vehicle. Sometimes it doesn't pay to try to help. All right, let's go to Glendale, Arizona. We got an adult male victim who was unharmed but arrested. And we got a suspect who was an adult male who was injured. And let's see what we got. Detectives are investigating after a man was shot multiple times outside a smoke shop. The shooting was reported on April 6th at 11:45 p.m. The owner of the Smoke Casa, Uday Muslet, says the store was just about to close when an armed man came inside and wrestled his employee to the ground. The employee who also had a gun in his waistband shot the man in the leg. Muslet said the man responded by pointing a gun at the clerk's head. He had no time to do anything. He was literally attacked at the front door. The unknown man reportedly managed to take the employee's gun and ran outside, pointing both weapons at him. Muslet then claims that the clerk grabbed another gun that they had on hand at the store and shot the man outside. Do you wait to see what he's going to do? Not necessarily. We're talking about life here, Muslet said. The man who was shot was hospitalized in life-threatening condition. Muslet said his employee was detained that night and he was frustrated by it because he was acting in self-defense. So this happened in Arizona. And this guy comes in and he has a gun and the employee steals the employee's gun and then the employee goes outside and shoots the man. And I'm not sure what the laws are on self-defense in Arizona, but I imagine if the guy's still pointing guns at the store and the guy goes out and shoots the guy, there could be an argument either way on self-defense, but that guy was originally arrested. So we'll see what happens with that one. All right, let's go to Walla Walla, Washington. Walla Walla. The suspect was a 34-year-old man who was involved in a home invasion. Doesn't list a victim on this one. 34-year-old man was shot trying to break into a Walla Walla home around 8:30 p.m. The attempted burglary and shooting happened in the 500 block of North Roosevelt. Officers responded to the scene but were advised that the suspect had drove himself to the hospital. Officers responded to the medical center and found the suspect's car crashed nearby. There's been no update on the suspect's condition at this time. Walla Walla are still investigating the attempted robbery. So this guy tries to break into a house, gets shot, tries to go get away and go to the hospital, and ends up crashing. Did he die? No, he was just injured. At least as of the time of this thing, he was just injured. He didn't die in that one. Okay, Concord, North Carolina. Our victim is 24-year-old Nicholas Asbury. And we got two suspects. One was killed and one was injured. 17-year-old Xavier, Nehemiah, Zion, Charlton. He was the one that was killed. He's 17. And then Kareem Mayo, he's 22, and he was injured. So let's see what they did. Concord Police Department is investigating the shooting death of one male victim following an attempted armed robbery. According to a press release on Thursday, April 6th, officers were dispatched to a home following a 911 call reporting an individual had been shot and a robbery had occurred. Police officers were the first to arrive on the scene. Officers found Xavier Nahim Zion Charlton of Salisbury suffering from gunshot wounds near the rear of the home. The officers immediately administered aid to Charlton until EMS arrived, and he succumbed to his injuries, and EMS pronounced him dead on the scene. The resident, Nicholas Asbury, told police he was confronted by two men carrying handguns and that he had fired his handgun several times, striking both individuals. The investigation discovered that Kareem Mayo, also of Salisbury, was with Xavier and he was shot in the hand. Nicholas Asbury, the guy who did the shooting, was charged with felony possession of marijuana. Mayo was charged with attempted armed robbery and possession of a firearm by a felon and shooting into an occupied property. The investigation is ongoing. So these two guys come to this guy's house with guns. He ends up shooting them, but he ends up getting charged with felony possession of marijuana. So this was probably some drug deal gone bad or something of that nature. Okay, Fayetteville, Georgia. We got an adult male victim, unharmed, and another suspect that was killed, 18-year-old Jeremiah McCrae. A Fayette County teen is dead after getting into a fight with his girlfriend's brother. Investigators said they were called to the home shortly before 3 p.m. Deputies arrived. They found Jeremiah McCrae from Noonan had been shot several times. He was rushed to a nearby hospital where he was pronounced dead. Investigators said McCrae had gotten into a fight with his girlfriend's brother. That's when the deputies said he went and got an AR-15 style weapon to confront the brother. Deputies said the brother had his own handgun and shot McCrae. The sheriff's office has not released the name of the shooter at this point. Investigators said no one else was injured during the injury. So this dude gets in a fight with his girlfriend's brother, goes to get a gun to threaten the brother, and then the brother ends up shooting him, and he ends up dying. Well, that's what you get, I guess, when you start a gunfight and you end up losing. All right, this is the last one. Denver, Colorado. We got a 45-year-old adult male victim who was unharmed and another suspect that was killed. This was armed robbery. 31-year-old Daniel Emmanuel Bright, and he was killed. A man was shot and killed after allegedly trying to rob a pawn shop late Thursday morning. The shooting happened in the 8,000 block of East Mississippi Avenue around 11:17 a.m. Officers responded after receiving a 911 call asking for an ambulance and the police. The caller told dispatch a man had allegedly tried to rob the pawn shop and had been shot. At the scene, arriving deputies found a person deceased. That person was identified as 31-year-old Daniel Emmanuel Bright. Investigators and Sheriff's Office CSI unit processed the scene. So here's another one. Someone's trying to break into a place and they end up getting shot. And this time fatally. There was a lot of fatal ones this week. But people are really starting to defend themselves. And I don't know how much longer it's going to take till these criminals realize people are armed. After 2020, gun sales went way up. They shot way up. And there were already a lot of guns in America. But they went way up because people really needed to start protecting themselves, because that was kind of the turning point where things started going downhill as far as enforcing the law was. I mean, it was probably going downhill before that, but that's when it really kicked into high gear. And I don't know how long it's going to take till the criminals realize that people are armed, especially in pawn shops. You have to know if you go in a pawn shop, they're going to be armed in there because, I mean, I'm sure they get robbed all the time in pawn shops. So this guy, I don't know, will he end up, Emmanuel Bright, he ended up getting killed. And that's all I have for you this week, but I'll be back again with more defensive use of a firearm incidents. Thanks for watching.